Hola, mi gente. It's Angelique from Angelique Guides, Infrastructures for Conscious Leadership and Collective Healing. And this is Q&A Wednesday. And the question is, how do we show up for the work when we're hurting? Um, this is like so real and present and raw for me right now. 2016 has been, holy shit, has been a year for me to go down in the long, God willing, Goddess willing, the long, long line of my history. In that it broke my heart in a million pieces, and I had to. I moved from the home that I raised my children in for the most part, um, and a 23-year marriage ended, in which for me there was still very active love, um, and simultaneously the season of the life cycle that I'm in. My children are grown. I just turned 40, and so much has happened. And there's so many lessons from this year that unbelievable. The amount of, and I think they are gifts. They don't feel like them when you're getting them, because gifts are often associated with extreme joy. Um, but the joy is slow and coming when you realize some of the places that shadow and darkness can take you. Um, so when we're talking about still showing up while um, shit is hard and going down for us, I think there are many ways that that can look. I think that I want to go with, all the blissed out, you know, transcending kind of language of healing and saying, like, oh, be gentle and kind with yourself. Um, yes, and yes, if your capacity is there for that. And for me, for a long time, I don't think I really reached rock bottom this year, in ways that I had never imagined visiting, because it was just really ugly. It was an ugly time, and so many things were happening. So I gave myself the space, a long and a lot of space, to grieve, to feel how I feel, um, to rest, to fall apart, um, to let it all hang out, so to speak, because I believe strongly in the medicine of transparency and in the medicine of being able to fully live what we're putting out there. And I don't see the benefit, and this is like, you'll see this across my body of work. I don't see the and teachings, I don't see the benefit in trying to conceal my pain or conceal pain, because we're surrounded by it. There are things that are beyond our control: deaths, disasters, some sicknesses. There are things that happen in life that you have no control over, and they break your heart in ways that are not, you can't just put it back together, right? It changes who you are. You change shape and you change form. And for me, watching my own engagement with it, I knew that if I didn't allow myself to actually break down, and I did, friends. I mean, there was a moment I drove myself to the emergency room, because I needed support, mental support. That's how bad it was for me. And I can be honest about that, because I think that we don't talk about it enough. Um, when trauma is triggered, and when PTSD is triggered, and what happens in our lives when we come from really rough backgrounds. And so be gentle, be kind, but also give yourself ample permission to process. There's no like over the mountain. It's kind of, you got to go through the journey. You have to engage the change in temperature. You have to engage the change in scenery and terrain. And there's no formula for it, there's no recipe for it, because all of us are different. And so when there's upheaval in your life and when there's challenge and change, I don't have like, and I don't ever say it to anybody like this really formulaic way of like, you'll be fine, you'll get through it, you're stronger than you think, because at that moment you don't feel strength. And at that moment, maybe you don't need to hear that you need to be strong, but you actually need to give yourself permission to let it all fall apart. And that has been one of the most heartbreaking things for me, um, ever, is to let it all fall apart because I really didn't have control, um, over other people, basically, right? And so allowing myself to be supported, allowing people in to the, I want to say that, like, whatever zone they would call that, where things are really disastrous and everything is like, you know, um, everything is toxic because there's so much pain. Letting people come for me in that. Um, Allowing myself to, I don't think I've ever cried so much in a year that like I've cried this year. And the tears are still coming. And one of the things I say often is like, I must be crying for my ancestors as well, and the pain that they experienced. um, because it's just it's all very rooted and it's a hard space, right? So the things that I want to say about being present when there's shit in your life that's going bonkers and falling apart, when things come your way that you don't have, your grip is not as strong. Um, be kind and gentle with yourself. Give yourself permission to fall apart. Give people who are safe, um, the space to step in and support you in that. Allow people that are safe to nourish you and hold you. um, you know, allow yourself to feel through and through the the pain and be present with that. And when you're feeling up, allow yourself to feel up. And when you're feeling good, allow yourself to feel good. And when you're having to show up for work and when you're having to show up for processes or things like that, or your everyday life, do it as slow as you possibly can, do it as authentically as you can. I did a workshop probably like right after I moved out of the house that I lived in. And man, I was so broken. And I needed to do the workshop. I was contracted to do the workshop, and I was so grateful for it. And standing in that space, I was really transparent that I was in a really challenging time and season, and that my heart was broken in a million pieces. And I'm really fortunate that the work that I do is about the heart space and is about owning all of ourselves and all of our pieces, and that still I could check and gauge whether I had the capacity to hold space for others in that, and I did, and so I was able to show up for the work, right? And when I didn't, I didn't. I reduced the amount of time I was out of the house, and I'm still very sensitive to like being out and around groups, family, people, in general, just because I know that my heart is really tender, and I need my downtime and I need time to regroup myself. Choosing to do things that are healing for me, choosing to wisely folks that can hold me when I'm feeling really, really hurt or when things are memories are coming my way. Um, and also doing fun things, doing things that are like, Netflix had become a thing and has become a thing for me, right? Being able to allow myself to check out. Um, there's freedom in that as well. So ultimately, it's really coming back to center with the principles and the values that you hold as a person. And one of the things I realized in this probably like most painful experience for me was that while I couldn't control anybody else's behavior, this thing I knew for sure, that love inside of me will always reign supreme, and that I am about the love, and that I am committed to the end, to the act of love, and however that looks. And love looks strong, love looks weak, love looks challenged, love looks, purposeful. Love has so many ways and has the capacity to hold the shadow and the light. So when you're experiencing a tough time, as a conscious leader, as a healer showing up and offering collective medicine, that's the time when you get to integrate your own medicine and allow others to be medicine for you as well. Again, that are safe and that you feel okay with. So those are some of my thoughts about showing up when our hearts are broken and when our lives are challenged, and the choice not to do anything when we're in that space. So I hope that's helpful for you. I hope that if you're going through a challenging time or experiencing heartbreak, at such a magnitude that it's all just falling apart, that you give yourself permission and the grace to really just be, and that that is enough, and that you are enough. So I love you, and I hope you have, um, I hope that your time and your journey is full of kindness unexpected, is full of compassion in a way that allows you to process and be with yourself and allow others to be with you. Shalom, may your paths be filled with milk and honey, and may you have open roads. Thank you.